Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are finally doing Spider-Man Earth 616 Part 2. So, I'm sure you guys enjoyed this a lot. Let's begin. So Peter B. Parker, or Peter Benjamin Parker, was born in Queens to CIA agents Richard and Mary Parker, who were killed by the Red Skull and framed for treason during a mission. Before their deaths, however, Richard and Mary Parker had another child unknown to Peter, a daughter and Peter's younger sister, Teresa. Following by his parents' death, a young Parker was adopted by his uncle and aunt, Ben and May Parker, moving in with them at the residence in Forest Hills, New York, after the adopting of him. They became surrogate parents, or basically concerning parents, and raised him as if he were their own son. Over the years, into becoming a teenager, Parker grew to become a prodigy in multiple scholastic subjects at Midtown High School and achieving high honors among his classmates. However, his reserved nature and enthusiasm for knowledge made him often a target for bullying, primarily football star Eugene Flash Thompson. So he went to this lab, as I said in part 1. He just went to this lab, a General Tektronix public exhibition. He was 15 that time, and was bitten by a radioactive spider. Because when they were showing some radioactive rays, a spider came in between and got zapped by it, and when it was about to die, and landed on Peter's hand, and the spider bit Peter. Making his way home afterward, Peter was almost hit by a car until he leapt out of the way onto a building site a couple of meters high. Peter discovered that he somehow had gained incredible strength, agility, and surface scaling, all spider-like traits that he immediately associated with the spider bite at the demonstration. Encountering an ad offering cash prize for lasting 3 minutes in the ring with Joseph Hogan, basically known as the Crusher, Peter decided this would be a good way to test his power. Wearing a mask and avoid humiliation in case of defeat, Peter used his powers and easily defeated his opponent. So he didn't use his regular suit. No, he used a different kind of suit known as the wrestler suit. Now, there are different variations of it, but I'm pretty sure the original one was gray. TV producer Maxwell Schiffman observed his performance and convinced him to go on television with his act, designing a full costume and fabricating synthetic spider webs and wrist-mounted web shooters. Peter debuted as Spider-Man to become an immediate sensation. Following his first TV appearance, stardom fueled Peter in his Spider-Man suit, failed to act to stop an escaping thief, claiming that it was in his responsibility. Peter forgot the incident as his fame rose, but days later he returned home late to find his Uncle Ben murdered. And guess what? The very same guy he let go was the killer. Learning the police had the burglar responsible holed up in a warehouse. Peter changed into Spider-Man and easily captured him, only to discover he was the same thief that he had allowed to escape earlier. See, that's kind of sad. Filled with remorse, filled with regret, knowing that his lack of acting, lack of doing something there, led to tragedy. He realized that when someone has the power, they have an obligation to use it responsibly. From this realization of the gravity of events, he decided to become a vigilante superhero, helping whoever he could. Taking on great responsibility. The first problem young Peter faced was the lack of money with the death of his uncle. Due to the fact that his Aunt May was too weak to work and Peter was seen as fragile, he decided to get a job, even though Aunt May wanted him to become a scientist instead. Peter thought about using his spider powers for crime out of desperation, but he decided against it after thinking how his Aunt May would react to him in jail. However, it was seeming impossible to him to find a job in order to pay his growing debts. As Spider-Man, he was not able to continue his career as a TV star because of J. Jonah Jameson, owner of Now Magazine and the newspaper Daily Bugle, who started a smear campaign against Spidey. Jameson would make statements that he was a bad influence for children and a criminal for taking justice into his own hands. Referring to the situation with the burglar. Protests started taking effect and turning the public perception against Spidey, eventually causing Spidey's manager to leave him, impeding basically the way his ability to earn money even in costume. With these forced changes of events, Peter searched through the wanted ads, only to be rejected by all the employees, not being able to use his superpowers as Spider-Man. Infuriated, it made Peter angry, and his fury only intensified after seeing his Aunt May selling her jewelry to try and earn some money. Spidey's second heroic action was to save Jameson's astronaut son, John Jameson, from an accident in a deviated space capsule. Spider-Man hitched a ride on a small airplane and boarded the capsule during re-entry. Spidey then attached the missing capsule piece, allowing it to land safely. Although he had saved John, Spidey was still blamed by J. Jonah Jameson for the accident. So basically, J. Jonah Jameson blames Peter for basically nothing. Spider-Man. Later, trying to find ways to make some money, he decided to join the superhero team, the Fantastic Four. Spidey went into the Baxter building without invitation, battling the FF as a way of showing them his power, but the team refused Spidey's entry after explaining to him that they did not get paid for the actions and that they were a family, not an enterprise. Later that day, the Russian criminal and master disguised known as Chameleon used Spider-Man's identity to steal defense missile plans. The real Spidey was used by Chameleon as a pawn and escaped the scene without problems. After managing to avoid capture by the police, Spider-Man caught Chameleon in a helicopter before he could reach a Soviet submarine and handed him in to the authorities. Peter finally found a way to make money when the Daily Bugle asked for photos of the winged criminal known as the Vulture. Not only did Spider-Man defeat the villain, he also found a way to take photos, which caused J. Jonah Jameson to hire Peter to get him pictures of Spider-Man, under the condition that the publicist would not ask Peter how he took the pictures. Early in his career, Spider-Man fought many villains, including the Tinkerer, Dr. Octopus, the Sandman, Doctor Doom, the Fox, the Lizard, the Living Brain, Electro, the Big Man, the Enforcers, Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, and his deadliest foe of all time, Green Goblin. You know, sometimes I just don't agree with that. I think his deadliest foe is Venom. But a lot of people think it's Green Goblin, so I'm just gonna say that. Several of these villains would form the Sinister Six. So originally it was Kraven, Electro, Doctor Octopus, Sandman, Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, and Green Goblin. If that's six, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, I'm correct. So Dr. Octopus was the leader of the Sinister Six, a team who tried to get Spider-Man by kidnapping Aunt May and trying to force Peter to call him. They failed. You know, it was like just that one time where every supervillain tries to get Peter and they succeed, but Peter always comes back because no one likes a sad comic, and Spider-Man's like one of the most popular superheroes of all time, literally. During this time, Parker dated Betty Brant of the Daily Bugle, although Liz Allen had a crush on him. At the same time, both Peter's and Aunt May and their neighbor Anna Watson were constantly encouraging Peter to date Anna's niece, Mary Jane Watson, or MJ. Well, they started dating after Gwen's death. And Gwen Stacy dies here. A lot of stuff happened. So Liz, later in the 2018 comics, just back to basics. Liz didn't care what Peter's explanation was for his college paper for being fraudulent or like fake, because Dr. Octavius wrote it, but that was the time when Peter's body was controlled by Dr. Octavius, the superior Spider-Man. Before his high school graduation, Peter continued to fight off menaces, including the Scorpion, Spencer Smith's Spider Slayers, the Crime Master, and the Molten Men. He also assisted the recently formed Avengers in defeating Spider-Man's android created by Kong. Now let me tell you this, but what do you think is the Spider-Man's personality? Serious Spider-Man, where he just cares about being a superhero? Very sensitive Spider-Man? Or Joker Spider-Man? Honestly, I think it's Joker Spider-Man because he does that a lot. You might not see it, but if you read the comics, he does that a lot. Like, that's why there's a superpower in the Spider-Man PS4 game known as Quips. And that's, in my opinion, the best one. Back to topic. At one point, Aunt May's health got so bad that she suffered from a heart attack. Oof. Peter heard the news while he had the Human Torch were fighting the Green Goblin, and he was forced to flee in order to get to her quickly. However, this only convinced the public at large that Spidey was a coward who had fled from a battle. Die-hard Spider-Man fans like Flash Thompson continued to support him, while J. Jonah Jameson ran editions in the Bugle claiming that he himself scared the Spider-Man off. Like, that's just stupid. He doesn't even know who Spider-Man is. Why would he scare him off? And I mean, because he's like trying to expose him, but he was the one who like said that. Not everyone's always bad. While looking While looking after Aunt May, Spider-Man was forced to escape yet again from the Sandman in order to get home quickly. When he learned that his aunt's health has improved, he vowed to prove the world wrong about him. Meanwhile, a worried Torch tried to look for Spidey, but he only managed to be captured by the Sandman. Spider-Man rescued him and defeated his enemy, wiping the smirk off Jameson's face and getting the world to appreciate him again. And we'll talk about Hero in University next in part 3. And I hope you enjoy. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Now, what I want you guys to comment, or just comment whatever you want. I want you guys to comment what's your favorite Spidey suit and what do you think I could do? What you want me to do. And I'll look into it. Bye.